Welcome to the In the Arena podcast. My name is Jared Miguez, a co-host on this podcast that brings you the inspiring stories of our clients who are leaders and innovators across different industries in Southeast Louisiana. They are visionary entrepreneurs, savvy real estate professionals, media creators, military business owners, and community champions. And we are going to showcase the remarkable achievements and share their personal stories. Tune in for insightful conversations, valuable lessons, and motivational stories that are going to reveal their secrets to success and offer you insights to help you on your own path. Welcome to In the Arena podcast.
That's very true, because you get caught up in that process and you're only focused on the tasks and the results and the things that you need for your business. But this whole time you very well could be, as I was, not giving yourself the attention that you need, and realizing all of a sudden waking up one day and it's been years and it's like, oh, what happened? Where'd all this go? Like, I have this business and it's successful and everything's going well, but like, I just don't remember the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So it's a challenge, and it's something that I work on that, and I started working on later, I'd say maybe in the last couple, 2 or 3 years.
But do you feel like it's almost a phase you have to go through at a certain point, especially an entrepreneur or business owner, you've got to kind of recalibrate yourself. You got to get into the trenches for a minute and then realize like, okay, now I've got to kind of balance this out a little bit. You kind of have to go through that phase of like I push
certain
myself
personalities.
Yeah.
Some people can't handle it. That's why you have failed entrepreneurs.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have a buddy of mine. We've known each other for 6, 7 years now. You made a huge impact on my life because every day, a product of what you and your firm did is a big part of my life and the business we operate out of, because you designed our building. So we got Justin Greenleaf here. He owns Greenleaf Architects. Started the firm in 2015. They do work from Texas to Florida, a lot of work in the greater New Orleans area, a lot of work in St. Tammany Parish. You made a huge impact on the area. I think it's great. You got 15 people who work for you between the interior designers and the architects. And I know the culture at your company is great because I've seen it, I've dealt with it. So I'm really excited to have you on the show. Lauren and I are here to promote St. Tammany businesses, and I couldn't think of a better person to kind of get the podcast rolling with than Justin Greenleaf. So happy to have you, buddy.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you all for having me.
Welcome.
Yeah.
So we'll start with this. So, you being from St. Tammany Parish and making such a huge impact here, like what does it mean to you to be from St. Tammany Parish and be an architect here and have grown up here, and some of the buildings that you're working on are updates for buildings that you've seen your whole life, and seeing this town grow and making an impact on that? How does that feel to you coming to work every day?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. We get to actually change and alter the built environment that we live in and work in. And I have grown up here, and I remember when Walmart was a golf course. I remember when 190 didn't have any traffic. I remember all those different little intricacies about the North Shore that are vastly different today. And we get to play a large part in changing and updating that, and hopefully for the better. So it's been fun. It's been fun to see the area I grew up in change and morph and be a part of that. So.
Yeah. I mean, Lauren's from St. Tammany Parish too, and she's super passionate about the Slidell area. That's where her family grew up. And so being an outsider coming in from Alexandria, it's been cool to, the more you kind of connect with people, the more you see how small the town it is, and people have worked with each other in the past that you didn't realize worked together in the past. They're related, and you didn't even know they were related. And so, just since I've been here since 2015, this town has blew up, but the yellow signs are all over the place, designing buildings and doing things. And so I know that you've got to be proud of that,
Yeah, it's great. I am. Our team is awesome, and to get to work here is awesome. Like you said, we are licensed from Texas to Florida, and we do work in all 5 Gulf South states. And work in New Orleans quite a bit as well. But something about the St. Tammany jobs are just fun. They just are. I enjoy getting to see the jobs go up on the way to work. I get to see the staff enjoy seeing their projects go up, cutting the ribbons around here with the mayors that we know, and all the small town stuff is really, really makes it rewarding. So
You have a vested interest in the growth of the community. I mean, that's how I look at what we do on our law firm side with businesses. It's like every business that we help get to a better place is going to employ somebody else from our community, have better services for our community, and have better families in our community. I mean, I don't know what could excite people more.
Nope. Amen. I couldn't say it better than that. So.
Yeah. It's been, I like going in y'all's office and seeing all the shovels that y'all keep adding to the thing. I remember when we first got started, having our shovel there was really cool.
I think it's still there.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then as it, every time we go by, there's another shovel added to the mix there. So how many projects y'all have going at a time right now?
You know, that's a tough one to answer, but I'll do my best because people do ask it all the time. You know, we probably have somewhere between 60 and 80 active jobs at a time. Now, they're not all being actively worked on every day. I would venture to say 20 or so of those are like actively being worked on every day. So when they're not active, it's either going on hold for budget checks. It's either waiting for financing. It's either waiting for some engineering or owners to make decisions. So those are I guess, the remaining 60 that are just waiting, but they're on and off for 2 or 3 weeks at a time and they come back. So a large amount, but I'd say we're actively working on around 20 to 30 every day.
So we talked a little bit about this before we got started. Like, I don't know if people actually understand like what it takes to actually become an architect. Like, I had friends in college that were in architecture program, and I learned today that just because you graduate with an architectural degree doesn't mean that you can on day one sign off on projects, right?
Right, that's correct.
So what are the skills you need in order to be an architect in general? How much time does it take? And then we can get into like what you think makes a really good architect.
Great. Yeah, that whole education and licensure portion is a greater challenge than I think a lot of people really give it credit for. So, it's 5 years of school that is pretty much nonstop. It's pretty intense. Yeah. And then after that, you have a 3-year internship where you work for a licensed architect for 3 years. And then that licensed architect signs off on your hours, obviously, as you complete them. And then you have a series of exams. When I took them, there were 7. I do think they've reduced it to either 5 or 6 now, but they're fairly intense. They're not all one day. They're separate days, and it takes about that 3 years of that internship to be studying and preparing for the test. So we got guys at our office right now that sit there through lunch and study. I'll get there at 6 a.m, and some of them are in there studying. So your education is not over when you graduate to get that license.
I can vouch for that. I mean, I've driven by the office and the lights are on at 6:30 in the morning. Yeah, I go to my the Dom, go meet with Dom a couple times a week down there. I got to pass y'all's office,
right? And
it's early in the morning, and there's people there.
Yeah,
probably either Kyle working.
Yeah, it probably is Kyle.
or somebody studying. That's really cool. So I remember in college having people like rumors of people sleeping on their desks while they were studying because I mean you got projects that are due and you're grinding hours and hours and hours. So I remember when I graduated from law school, and Lauren had a lot easier time in law school than me. She's smarter than me. But when I graduated from law school, I remember calling my dad afterwards and being like, "There's nothing on this planet that I can't do." I didn't enjoy it. Mm-hmm. It was hard, but I was like, that was my thing. Right. And so is that kind of the same experience that people have when they graduate from architecture school, get through all those 3 years and pass that exam? It's like I feel like you've accomplished something and now the sky's the limit for yourself.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. It is definitely a goal because that should be recognized and you should give yourself credit for because I think the number is between 10 and 20% of people who graduate actually get their license. I think it's getting that number's increasing now because they've made some of the tests a little less intense because the numbers of architects that are out there is not great. For instance, my license number is 7,779. I'm the 7,779th architect in the state of Louisiana. That's not a lot of architects. When you look back
how excited were you to get lucky 7s?
I know, right? I know. I didn't.
Where you're like, yes, I got this.
I know.
Success.
You're right. Exactly. I didn't even think about that until you just said it. But no, so once you get that license, it's huge, but it's short lived. And I think that's true whenever you hit any goal in life. And one thing I learned a few years back that I wish I would have known a long, long time ago was the process is the part that people really enjoy, right? Like I took one test and I passed it. I took another test and I passed it. You get that, you finally get that license or you finally finish that project or that building or law school or whatever it is. And then you get to that and you have a celebration, a party, and then it's over within one night or a couple of days. And then you're just back to the grind and nothing changed. So progress equals happiness is something that I've learned. And it's that you look for that end goal, but it's all the steps it takes and the small little adjustments that you made to get to that goal. So.
Yeah.
We have so many people that ask us all the time, like, when do y'all stop? And it was like, the day I stop, just check me into the hospital.
Yeah.
Like there's
Right.
always going to be something else that we're going to go towards. But that's the idea of excellence. That's the idea of waking up, continuously working on yourself on a daily basis, right? So, I mean, I agree with you. It doesn't end. Enjoying the process, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, I know.
Learning to enjoy the process or enjoying it when you're in the process,
Correct,
right?
correct.
I
Yep.
think that's the art that we forget to master. That comes back to how often are you working on yourself, right?
Yep.
Trying to be a better person and truly understand your needs, your family's needs, so that you can enjoy the process.
That's very true, because you get caught up in that process and you're only focused on the tasks and the results and the things that you need for your business. But this whole time you very well could be, as I was, not giving yourself the attention that you need, and realizing all of a sudden waking up one day and it's been years and it's like, what happened? Where'd all this go? Like, I have this business and it's successful and everything's going well, but like, I just don't remember the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So it's a challenge, and it's something that I work on that, and I started working on later, I'd say maybe in the last couple, 2 or 3 years.
But do you feel like it's almost a phase you have to go through at a certain point, especially an entrepreneur or business owner? You've got to kind of recalibrate yourself. You got to get into the trenches for a minute and then realize like, okay, now I've got to kind of balance this out a little bit. You kind of have to go through that phase of like, I push
Certain
myself.
personalities.
Yeah.
Some people can't handle it. That's why you have failed entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Right? I kind of take it as my goal in life is to teach people that entrepreneurship doesn't have to be so painful, because it is. It's hard, right? The weight on your shoulders of everybody that you're caring for, everybody that you bring into your business, what your commitment is to your community. And so if you work on building out better processes for your business and work on yourself on a daily basis, it doesn't have to be that painful. In moments it will be, by all means, but the strong will survive.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. If you don't find those ways of efficiencies and processes and ways to get it better, you'll burn out.
Yeah.
You can't do it all. That's just becoming a really, really good employee that works for yourself. Like,
That's right.
if you
A slave to your
wanna,
business.
Right. If you want to build something that's sustainable, that runs without you, it's going to take a lot of upfront work.
Yep.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So I think it's impressive how, somebody, and we're the same age. Lauren's a little older than us. But we won't talk about that.
I am not much older.
I was hard time. I'm the youngest attorney out of the 4 partners, so I always
Nice.
make it seem like I'm a decade.
He makes it
younger than
known.
you. Yeah. But so you operate your business through an operating system. And so how long did it take you to realize that you needed to be more efficient with your business? Like what year, at what point? You started in 2015. When did you start really implementing operating systems in your business?
Man, we really started that probably 2 to 2.5 years ago.
And what impact has that had on your business?
It's been huge. It's harder. It's in the interim though. It's more work. Like, because then you got to go into a company that has been operating and running well, right? Like successfully. Like they're still paid. The company's still paid. Projects are going up. It's really stressful. At least for me, it was. I mean, I'm sure it was for them as well. So but then you got to go in and change everything. And telling a group of people who've operated one way to change is not easy.
And most people don't like change.
Most people don't like change. And the only way to be a successful business in 2024 and the only way to be able to do that, especially in what we do with the ever-changing technology and whatnot, is to be able to adapt.
Yeah.
And if you can't adapt to the next, like, even if you don't like it, even if you don't like where the industry's going, for instance, I got into architecture because I like to draw. That changed real fast.
Yeah.
When's the last time you did that?
I don't even like computers. Like, now it's all digital, right?
Well, crap.
So I know, right? But I'm still passionate about what we produce and what that does for our community and our clients and our people. So the process might have changed, and I don't get to, pick up a pencil and put headphones on and just, fall into a piece of paper and draft anymore. Got to find other ways to get that kind of need, right? But no, it's different now. So you got to be able to adapt.
Yeah. And so the operating system that you run with your business.
Yes.
So tell me about how that works. So are y'all on weekly meetings, or how do you hold your team accountable? How do you set standards, and how does your team appreciate the system that you put in place?
Yes. Good question. We have accountability charts, right? That let everybody know what they're responsible for. Our studio is divided into 2 studios. So our studio is obviously all of the people that produce drawings and design work in our office. It's divided into 2, and projects go to one or the other. Each one has a studio lead, project architects, and the entire staff do different parts throughout each one. They're all equally fit to do each types of projects. We have each group has weekly meetings. I have weekly meetings with the leaders of those groups, and then we have a leadership team that has weekly meetings as well. And adding items to the agenda throughout the week in between, and tackling those in the meeting, even if you don't want to go to that meeting, and making the hard decisions. You can't. It's hard to put off the tough decisions when you're in the room in front of the people to make those decisions right then. So even if you don't want to be there, you dedicated 90 minutes or whatever the timeline is to make those decisions. And while they're difficult in the interim, they make things better in the long run, whether that be implementing a new process, whether that be adding to the team, even if you didn't necessarily have the projects or the timeline, but it's the right member, and and you just have faith that if you get that person on the team and you can use that time to train them when the jobs come in, then it's gonna pay off. At the same time, parting ways with the people that are not helping the team. This has been so hard for me to learn, but because I want to see the best in people and pull them along as far as I can and make sure that it works for our business. But you can't force something, and if it's not right, it's not right. And it might be the wrong time, might be the wrong person, might be the wrong seat, right? Whatever it is, if it doesn't work out, you got to make a change.
Yeah. So. Hire slow, fire fast.
Yes, hire slow, fire fast. That's.
I can tell by how you're speaking that you have the same sentiments that we do. Is that if someone's failing in their relationship with our company, we take ownership of that, right? Because as a leader, you want to help everybody in your organization succeed. And so truly identifying whether it's something that you can coach out or coach up, right, is hugely important and something that we keep heavy on our chest.
Yeah, definitely. It's you learn quickly that you're no longer responsible for the results. You're responsible for the people who are responsible for the results. That's hard to understand when in a line of work that we come in because I before opening the company, I learned how to be a really good architect. Yeah. And I could make the results happen. But then we started the business and I could still do that because I was still producing, right? But that wasn't a business. Just opening an LLC and working for yourself isn't a business. That's, for lack of better terms, that's building a checking account, right? And then running, right? Like you can't, but if you really want to build a business that it can run, you've got to have processes, the right people in the right seats, doing the right job. All those things are so valuable. They sound like a lot of taglines and just, fun little quotes, but it's very interesting to me how accurate all of those things are. And if you can surround yourself with the right people, and back to what we said, that's bringing the right people on even when you don't think you can, and letting the wrong people go even when you don't think you can. If you can build that right team, I found a lot of success in that. So
I think the one of the biggest things that EOS helped me realize is that if you actually hold people to the standards at which you set, it's going to weed people out just as fast as it's going to help people move up and give you space to bring in the right people on your team to help you grow. And
the right people want to do that.
Correct.
They like that. Like our office doesn't like when we're not busy.
Right.
Like we've been slammed busy for 9 years essentially, and we've had a few slow months recently. They don't like it. I don't blame them. They like that fast paced go, and it's like, all right, let's do it then. Let's get working here and get it done. People like that. They come together as a team. They work together. I mean, that's that drive to do more and be better and produce more is a similar quality that I didn't realize I was finding in the people that I was bringing on. Yeah. And those are the ones that have outlasted and stuck with it. But I got to give them the opportunities to prove that they can get to the next level each and every time.
But that's a value for your business. You created a value that you can rely upon.
Yep. And that's not the same at all architecture firms, right?
Oh, no.
No, yeah. I mean,
very different.
Yeah, other firms don't necessarily mean to move that fast, and the staff doesn't like to move that fast.
Right.
And I think you're right. You've identified a value, and you brought people in, and people who have probably left because they didn't appreciate that value of pace and consistency that you were bringing on to the team. So
I just want to stop though, because he identified it as, a standard, that excellence that you're getting to, right? Once they value that they're having that self-improvement, that's when they can join and be part of the team. And similar to other architecture firms, law firms move slow. And so it's really hard for us to find experienced attorneys that we bring in that understand. And I could say it all day, like we are different because of who we are and how we do the work. But that's a level of crazy that most lawyers don't understand and what we're willing to do for our clients. There's not 14 layers that you go through to get on the phone with an attorney. And we need something turned around. You can text us and say, hey, I need this done. And we're jumping on it. And if you don't create an environment where that's the norm, then you'll have a system of people that are unhappy. So that's where those values come in and you identify, is this the right person for the team?
Absolutely. And just a quick plug on that, because I know you introduced that, I had worked for you and whatnot, and that's awesome. But I have had the opportunity of hiring y'all to work for us as for a couple different things, but one being, and I see that it's very clear because I've unfortunately hired other attorneys in the past, right? And it's part of what we do. And but I do very much appreciate that, like, eagerness and drive to just get to the answer and get it done quickly. When I go to my team, like, 'cause look, we have clients all the time. They're like, hey, I need to do this project and I need to be in 14 months. And it's 70, 80,000 square foot office. But I'm like, even if we had permits now, you're going to be in trouble, right? So clients don't understand what it takes to do it, timeline and everything. But they'll come to us with these ridiculous responses. I want the team that when I go back and I say, hey guys, we got to put out a set of drawings at about half the time we're supposed to. Who wants it?
Yeah, somebody raise their hand.
Those are the ones that want it,
and everybody's raising their hands.
And you can see it. That's an easy way. You can see really quickly if someone's like, oh, I have too much to do or whatever. Okay, fine. Then, and look, that doesn't mean we don't have a place for them. We got people who do that all day. But you better believe that's definitely, every time I go in there and bring that up, another one steps up. The sky's the limit for them.
Yeah.
I don't want people capping out and leaving and go, like, I want, like, be the best. Like, you came in and you knew Kyle. You see, you immediately, you know how many architects you work for that don't know the people who did the drawings because they only know the guy behind the.
Well, he's such a cool guy, and he was here all the time. I got to hang out with him every time I'd come. And I just really enjoyed working with Kyle.
Awesome. Our whole team is incredible, and I'd imagine they'll probably hear this at some point. So I want everybody to know they're all awesome, and they all. But yes,
he loves y'all dearly
because Kyle got to work on this project here at Arena with Jared and his team. You're able to see one of the people and one of the qualities of our office, and it goes well past Kyle. So, but I want those people who are going to stand up and like, let's do it. Let's come together. And let's make it happen. I know it's ridiculous and I know it's probably impossible, but let's see if we can do it. Yeah.
The answer is yes. We'll find a solution. And I always tell people, I'm never going to tell you no. You just might not like what it costs or takes in order to get accomplish what you want to accomplish. I'm going to say yes, and if you say yes and you're willing to go through it, we're gonna do our best to get it done. I'm
surprised you even could say that sentence. I didn't know the word no was even in your vocabulary.
It was the way that it was used is the only way it was able to come out.
But I can appreciate that.
Yeah, but like, and we even the way that our team gets rewarded when they exhibit the willingness to do things. Not necessarily are you producing more than the other person. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, to produce more and have a terrible attitude, or produce more and have and hurt the culture of our company. We would much rather somebody who's got a great attitude and exhibit the personalities that we have, and to be willing to go above and beyond and put in the effort, and we'll reward you for that. And EOS or any operating system that you use will allow you to kind of identify those people with the things that you are holding them to, the numbers that they're accountable to, and the standard that you've set.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's awesome. And so the culture of your company, it's changed over time, and it's probably still going to change. But you think a lot of that is due to the fact that you run an operating system and you identified values and you hold people accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it does start with getting the right people in the door, because we had the right people. We had plenty of people in before you start running an operating system. That's the unfortunate reality of it. No one starts with an operating system and then builds a business, right? Like, you got to see if you're
trying to change that, but
I know,
most of the time it doesn't work that way.
It really doesn't, because at the time you're like, oh, I've been in business. I got to go do my thing. I got to go do my what I've learned to do really, really well, and just do it and do it and do it and do it. And then all of a sudden you're going to wake up one day and there's going to be people working for you and whatnot. And you're like, okay, they can do their thing and they can do their thing, but the way to transmit the communication from one to the other and all isn't there. So while I think in a perfect world we just don't. So, culture is huge. So we had a great culture from early on, and we've had our hiccups, right? We've had the wrong people. We've had, the right people doing the wrong job. We've had all the scenarios that come up in the EOS and different books and whatnot. But building that culture and maintaining that culture is huge, because people, look, money's great. Everybody gets a paycheck. They would not continue to show up if I didn't pay them. Like they just won't. Like that's the reality of it, right? But to be honest, that's not what keeps people from coming back. They want to enjoy their day and enjoy their work. Our office did not. I had to like make them go home for COVID, which I still regret making them go home. That was stupid, but I had to do it. People, but people wanted to be. They wanted to be there and working together and being collaborative. And that's why that remote thing doesn't really work for us. Well, or it might work for some. So, but culture's huge.
Yeah. So tell us what are some of the goals for your firm going forward? I know you've set goals for this year. Like, where do you see yourself going this year and maybe in the next couple of years?
Well, I no matter how much we grow, no matter what other markets we get in or types of projects we get in, the office culture and the people are what really drive me. I'm not a big person who likes the camera, even though I'm here, like 4 of them looking at me.
We drug him by the collar.
So I want our team to enjoy that as well. So getting into the ribbon cutting is getting into the fact that, like I said, you knew Kyle, obviously is awesome. So culture has to be maintained, no matter what kind of goals that you reach. We are pushing forward to expand our geographic region, right? Get a little more. I mean, continue with St. Tammany, but get some more work outside. Like we said, we do work Texas to Florida. Maybe expanding that a little bit is our goal, but increasing the overall efficiency of our office is huge, right? Like, can we do more with less, and can we do more with less heartache, and can we enjoy the time while we do it?
So when you do a project in Texas, like how often do you have to be on site, or how much is it actually just being remote doing the work and then being able to travel periodically?
Right. Yeah. Good question. A lot of it depends on where the developer's from. So if a developer that's local and we can host meetings locally, that's great. Makes it a lot easier. If not, Teams and Zoom and whatnot make that easy for the design portion. 80% of our work and contract and everything is in the design portion, which is sitting at a desk in a conference room. The last 20% is construction administration, which is when we're on site and whatnot. We technically don't ever have to be on site if we trust the contractor out there and we're getting proper photos and documentation of what they do. So that makes the remote work a little easier. But it doesn't mean we won't ever one day expand in that market and actually put, a brick and mortar location there to see if we can, drum something up. So we can be remote easier than a lot of businesses, especially in the construction industry. Yeah. But there's something to be said about being accessible and being able to be on site.
Put your eyes on something,
That's where like our St. Tammany jobs. Like, something, contractor calls and something's going on. We'll be there in 5 minutes.
Dude,
we can go look at it.
It's interesting you say that, because I remember when we were designing this building, we made a last minute change.
No way. And not you. No. Last minute change. Last minute change.
That never happens in construction.
Kyle gave me a compliment. He said that we actually were one of the easiest people, because we didn't make a lot of changes. But one of the changes that we did make was the conference room doors are on the back of the conference rooms now, when they were initially like right when you walk in the front door. Yep. And so we moved into the back just to give people more space to walk in. And I had realized that halfway through the project at my old office, where I was having congested conference rooms and reception area over and over again, I was like, how do I make this more efficient for my clients? Let's move the doors to the back of the room, and we can have a reception area where we have it behind the where you walk in. And so, we made the change, and Kyle came in and was walking through the building, and he was like it was like 2 weeks after we made the change, and he looked at everything, and the frame was up with the doors on the wrong side, and he was like, wait, that's not right. And because he walked in the door and put his eyes on it, they spun the frame around with the door on the back end. Yeah. And if it wasn't for that, him being there, we would have we'd had our conference room doors on the wrong side. And while it probably wouldn't have made a huge difference, I definitely think it makes a better flow for our office.
Yeah, 100%. No, definitely. And that's a good, I think a lot of people think we're going to be an expert in every single custom building and every different type of building, whether it be business or education or medical or we do a lot of office spaces, right? So just like this, and we like owners who are going to give us some of that feedback, think about it. Cause look, there's a first for everything. And I think we did a good job on this building, but it's the first title office that we did. So those closing rooms, I guess I call them, right? They're a unique design, and they're a little different than conference rooms, right? So, but knowing those things, that's the experience that you bring to the table. And we really, really like when owners bring ideas and thoughts. And a lot of times they think they're going to fog our our brain or our image or our design.
Creativity,
and like, right. It's like, that's the thing we're trained to do. We understand how to take pieces of what you say, and then make all those mesh with these, 5 or 6 code books we have to follow, and then make all that happen. That's our job. So we want that information. So that was huge that you were able to bring that, because otherwise you'd have had doors on the wrong side. You'd have been cursing your architect, and I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah. So. Well, we did, but you said that we were the first title company did that fee that we paid to be exclusive and you never work with title company again. We paid that one, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think you did. I got to go check.
Clearly we did not.
I don't think you did. I can say I've never put any of your projects in another one. I don't think I've done it. We did a couple. Yeah, not like this.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's we're very proud of what we did here, and we're glad that it still works for y'all, and it seems to be ever adapting. So
yeah, I mean, when it was it was an easy decision to do this because it really sets the tone, lets people know, and people when they walk in, they get the vibe of who we are. Like you said, I mean and I don't know if we've talked about that yet, but when you're designing a building, like what goes into that? I mean, because you've represented us very well with this building. So how do you decide and give advice and plan and be creative when you're building a building for a specific business?
Yeah. So depends on the project and what the client's looking for. We tend to gravitate to clients like yourself that want a building that's going to be custom and fit for their needs. Obviously, that's a little riskier. You could make a move that either is going to cost more or might be a little unconventional, might be a little different. But we like that. I like to break the mold and push it. We're not your permit set architect that's just going to give you a copy and paste from the building down the street. We don't enjoy that. We don't get fulfilled out of that. So whenever we get a client who wants to go that direction, that's what we gravitate towards. We really, really like that. And, it's something that remind me what.
Yeah, before we started, you said something about, and I had never heard you say this before, but the things you look at when you're designing a building are a few things, right?
I got it. Yeah. We have to pull from whatever's there, right? So some owners come and they got a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet says, I need 3 offices and this and that and this and that, right? And it's their list of spaces, which we'll call a program, and they'll come with that and they'll say, I just need this. Well, obviously they're going to have forgotten restrooms and storage and codes and hallways and whatnot. So we can make that work, and that's good. But some come and don't have anything. And that's okay. They don't know what they need, and they don't know until they come to us and start talking. So we start that process and ask questions and ask them what they need, but not just what they need. Because somebody's like, well, I need 10 offices. They only need to be 10 by 10. Well, how do you know those are the right sizes? Well, I just, Googled an office is 10 by 10, but that might not work for you, or it might work just as well for you if it were a little smaller, and then all 10 of those got you an 11th. Those types of little tricks and trades that we've learned over the years are really, really valuable. So we'll pull on whatever you bring. If you bring nothing, it's okay. Someone won't even come with a logo. So that's, I think, what we were talking about a minute ago. Like we'll pull from anything we got. So if you have a logo that we think was well done, it should represent you and your brand in some capacity, right? If the graphic designer did what they were supposed to do, it should. And it's usually obvious if it does or if it doesn't. And then we'll pull from that. We'll pull from your existing website, your existing space. Might be a lot of what not to do if you had a space before the space. So we have to pull from whatever's out there, and we have to get creative with that, because a lot of times they come in, they don't have anything.
How much does people's personalities play into that?
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pull from the people too. Absolutely. Like this. Yeah. Well, I mean, this building, an office building in Terabella is vastly different from any of the corporate office buildings we've done around town. It's even different from your neighbor who we designed. So it is. And that's due to the people that are going to be in the space. You want it to be custom enough to those people, but you don't want it to be so specific that it can't be sold or used.
Right. It's got to be saleable.
It's a balance you got to play. And all that balance takes more time, more effort. But in the end, if you get a better product, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think y'all pegged Jared pretty well, right? I mean, professional, excellent, right? Not you individually.
No.
He doesn't need to hear that. But honestly, a comfortable space,
yes.
Right? And I mean, if I would be building another building and it wasn't as easy to say, this is our environment and let's recreate it, I would just want to be like, I don't want to be a normal law firm.
Right.
Like, please don't make us a normal law firm. This would look totally different, right?
Yeah,
if you think in your head of what a law firm looks
different.
like. And we're very intentional that we want people to be able to come in here as they are, humble, being able to tell us what their problems are so that we can get them solved, and yet still feel really comfortable and feel that they're in a professional environment. And that is a unique balance that I think our business has. And so I just commend y'all for being able to peg that, right? And to get it right.
That's what we have to be able to do as architects. We have to, we get a unique opportunity to update, edit, change, create our built environment, whether that be in a building, whether that be driving on the highway with buildings surrounding it, whether it be master planning of sites. I mean, all that's thought about. And I don't think the general public, the vast majority of the general public actually understands that. But there are certain little moves and nuances done like in everything in the built environment that have a reason, right? Some of the simplest are colors. Like you're not going to go into a hospital and find a red room. You're just not. It's anxiety. It brings anxiety. It makes
matches blood.
Right. It does it. You're not going to find that in any kind of healing space, right? Yeah. That's a very, very basic one. Everything else from ceiling heights to acoustics to flow of a building, all those are very important. But then you got to marry that with the budget.
Yeah.
Because
what's a budget?
I know, right? I know. To do things, how long do you have? Right. To do things different costs money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even what's interesting, even if
the garage door.
Right. Even if it looks cheaper, it's different because you're then asking a contractor to do something they didn't do last time. So we have to really like break that down and be like, look, guys, it's not that different. Like it's easy, So anyway, that's very, very important. But that getting that environment right for our people is huge. And it's really what rewards us, right? Like it's the coolest experience I've ever had in my business. I didn't expect to go into this, but just kind of turned into it. Is I was driving up 190 and my kids were in the back seat. And I think my son Jackson was too young to really talk, but Madison could. And she looked out the window and she saw a building we designed and she knew it. And she goes, Daddy, you built that building. She thinks we built them at the time, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that was it. That's why I do this. Right
that was
there.
cool.
Right. Exactly. Like if my probably 4-year-old time recognized it, like I can imagine what that other people do as well.
Sure.
So, and in different ways.
So as we wrap up this perfect transition, so let's talk a little bit about, the legacy that you want to leave, not only whether it's in St. Tammany Parish or as big as Greenleaf gets, and like what is it that makes you tick? Like what makes you get up and go to work every day?
Yeah. So when I opened the company, I had a 4-month-old. I don't know what I was doing. It really probably shouldn't work.
You don't like sleep.
I know. I don't know. I was like a 4-month-old. I'm going to quit and just hope it works. But it worked, right? It's great. When at that point in my life, it was like I was just focused on building the business. Now that my kids are 9 and my son will be 8 in a month, that's changed. And I am so glad I put a lot of that time in so early when at least they couldn't remember some of that time because it was a grind. It was draw all night and develop business all day. And it was a lot of weekends and whatnot, but glad I did it when I did it. Now, that said, what was driving me then was just the need to not fail, right? Like they have no choice. Like I just quit my job. Not a whole lot of other architects around here. No one's going to hire me. Like, it's like, I got to make this work. Right.
Yeah.
But it's definitely shifted to why do I do this now? And it's 100% my family. It is my wife and it is my kids, Madison and Jackson. And, we have a very good mix at the house, which is interesting because I was talking just about the picks at the office and hiring people and, you don't get to hire your family, but it like worked out really well. Like how this worked. Like, Caitlin's my rock and she just, supports me and helps me in every way. As I do my best to do for her as well, but she's incredible. And she's always got a smile when I get home. My kids are just awesome, mixes or from both of us. And they each have like certain qualities and it's really cool. Like but I do it for them. I mean, it's 100% like them, money's one thing and you can always make more of it, but like you can never make more time.
Yeah.
And, I don't miss a whole lot of football games and and dance or cheer and all the things. And it's just, that's why I do it, is because that day we drove and they saw the building. Now they drive and they see the signs, and I can just imagine their friends at school. And it's a thing. It's a unique experience, a unique opportunity we have. And, I want the kids to enjoy it as much as I have. And I have, as we built this business and ran it, but it's really, none of that matters if you don't get the time with the kids and the family. It's just none of it matters.
I think everybody thinks of legacy when they own a business. It's like, okay, I'm going to be able to hand this to my
Right.
kids. I have to have the hard conversation oftentimes with people that this business won't exist without you because you haven't put in the time and the effort to actually create a business. You're just offering a service, right? And that's one part of it. And the other, I feel like it consistently gets discounted, especially, in this YOLO environment, and that it's in our face all the time as entrepreneurs what parenting should look like for entrepreneurs. And it's entirely discounting the values that you're teaching your kids as a legacy by being an entrepreneur and showing up every day and being in the grind. Like, I cannot tell you how much of an impact my parents made on me watching them own their own businesses and put in that work. And so, yes, they were there to be there for me for all the extracurricular activities. And it was awesome. I still don't know how they did it, as busy as our lives were and their businesses, but they did. And it was important. But just as important as it was for those personal things, it was important for me to see them be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's a legacy that will never go away because I'm not taking over my family's businesses. I'm creating my own. That's a whole different type of legacy.
Yep. And that's that is like, that's your first job is to raise that family and provide for that family and raise those kids. Like that's my number one, like, thing. I help with coaching of his teams. And I just try to help them in all the ways that I can see would help them in the future. And look, I don't know if they're going to want to be architects. I don't know. I'm not going to give them the business if they're not passionate about it, because that's the fastest way to destroy an architecture firm is let somebody who's not passionate about what they do run the place. But if it turns
Hopefully
into
they
something,
like computers, not pencil and paper.
I know, right? If it turns into something that they really want to do, then great. If they're the right fit, then awesome. But it's as much as I don't want them to have to build something from the ground up, it's super rewarding. And if I can give them the tools to be able to do, if they wanted to go do that on their own and do something completely different, then that means that I was successful, and that's what we need to do.
It's funny that we most, like, the more we have these conversations, the more the story is similar. You bite off what most people would think is way more than you can chew at the beginning, but then having that season of your life allows you to come out of it at some point and be like, all right, I've laid the foundation. I got my business going now, and I can really make an impact on my family. Yeah. And you do it early, and you get it done, and you work hard so that you can get out of it. And like, I had a very similar experience where my 18-month-old son, when he sees the arena logo, points to that and says, "Dad, Dad." Yeah. And like that,
Isn't that cool?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool because it means so much to you. You know what that logo meant. You know what it cost, not just in money. You know what it cost to get where you are, and you know the early mornings it took. You know that up before the sun rose. You know the getting home when they're already in bed. I mean, you know what all that. So that makes that logo even more valuable when then they recognize it, and it's a good thing. Yeah. So. That's the number one thing. I mean, I'm working now. I can't wait to get home and go throw the ball or go help them and whatnot, and it shifts and it changes, and it should, because this is, like I said, this is the most important part of what we're going to do is as humans, like is raise the next generation to be, successful and contributing members of society. Yeah. And I don't know, that means a whole lot more than I love designing buildings. Don't get me wrong, and I love that. Right. Hope all of our clients are loving the spaces that they're in, but I hope they leave at 5 o'clock, go hang out with their kids.
Yeah. So. I feel the need, though, to go full circle, to not in this conversation. It's almost like, we talked from the beginning that there's never an end goal that we say we have attained and we've stopped, right? And so we're rounding this out on a phase of life that we're all in because we all have younger children right now, right? And our lives are busy. But there's nothing to say that y'all aren't going to be building something again in the future in the next phase of your life for the next passion that you create or the next need that you see in our community, and you identify that it has to be fulfilled. Because if you go back to the entrepreneur mindset we started with, we're always reaching for the next thing.
Yeah. And those processes that come with all that, they translate over.
Oh, amen.
To raising kids, to building the business, to working out, staying, like all those processes you do, it's very easily translated. And
when I help people with that, they're like, "Can you help this industry?" I'm like, "It works in every industry. Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't matter. Just change a few of the words and it works."
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, how can people get in touch with you, and how they get in touch with your firm?
Got it. Yeah. I mean, our website is up and running all the time. I know that's the easy answer, but if you just Google it, it's mine. We do have a unique, my last name, but a unique name. It's like not hard to, not all Greenleaf's running around. So anything social media, we're active on Facebook, on LinkedIn and Instagram, and then our website. But they can do that. Our office is in downtown Covington. We're very, very easy to find. You can walk in. We're we're similar to y'all on that. So you walk in
really
and hang out, and there's music playing, and someone's drinking a Monster or coffee or whatever. Maybe 5 o'clock it's a beer. Who knows? But we're easy. Just pop on in, call us, email us, any of that. We're all very accessible.
Cool. Well, and we'll drop some information in the notes of the post so people can get in touch. So, dude, really appreciate you coming on. It was a great conversation.
Yes,
Thank y'all. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Good luck going forward, man.
So, awesome. Thanks a lot, y'all.